The massive galactic station hung in space like a steel city among the stars, its lights blinking across dozens of docking platforms where ships from 100 worlds came and went with steady rhythm. Captain Danny Martinez guided his freighter toward Dock 17 with practiced hands, barely glancing at the instruments that had been his companions for 20 years in the black. The long haul groaned and shuddered as its ancient engines fought against the station's gravity well, metal plates rattling with each thrust correction. "Captain, we're getting some looks from the other ships," Lieutenant Katie Sullivan said from the navigation station. A young face showing embarrassment at their vessel's condition, Danny chuckled, running a hand through his graying hair. "Let them look, kid," he said. "We've got cargo to deliver, and that's all that matters." The long haul certainly earned those looks. Its hull was a patchwork of mismatched repairs, some panels showing rust spots that made the whole ship look ready to fall apart. Outdated sensor arrays stuck out at odd angles, and the engine housings were clearly from 3 different ship classes. None of them new. To anyone watching, it looked like a ship that should have been scrapped decades ago. Docking clamps engaged with a metallic clang that echoed through the small bridge. Katie started the power down sequence while Danny checked the cargo manifest for their delivery of agricultural equipment bound for the Terran colony on Proxima 4. "I still don't understand why Earth fleet keeps sending us to these diplomatic stations," Katie said, securing her console. "We're just a cargo hauler." Danny smiled but didn't answer. There were some things the young lieutenant didn't need to know yet. 2 hours later, Danny walked through the station's main diplomatic sector, his worn flight jacket drawing amused glances from the impeccably dressed alien ambassadors. The corridor was enormous, designed to accommodate species of vastly different sizes, and the walls gleamed with polished metal that made the long haul's rust patches seem even more pathetic. Was heading toward the human embassy office when voices caught his attention. Loud, arrogant voices speaking in Galactic Common. "Did you see that human garbage scow that just docked?" One voice said with obvious contempt. Danny slowed his pace, staying just around the corner. "The one that looks like it survived 3 wars and a meteor strike," another voice laughed. "I'm amazed it made it through the station's approach without falling apart." "Humans," the first voice said with dripping disdain. "They call themselves a spacefaring species, but they fly around in rust buckets, held together with hope and stupidity." Danny recognized the speaker now, Ambassador Velrix of the Krullan Sovereignty, one of the most powerful military alliances in this sector. The Krullans were tall, angular beings with bronze-colored skin and eyes that glowed with internal light. "They're not a threat to anyone," a third voice added. "Just cargo haulers playing at being important." The group laughed and moved away. Danny stood there for a moment, his jaw tight, then continued toward the embassy. Katie found him 3 hours later in one of the station's many cantinas, nursing a drink and watching the news feeds. "Captain, you need to hear this," she said urgently, sliding into the seat across from him. "What's wrong?" he asked. Seeing the concern in her eyes, "I was running our standard signal sweeps," Katie said quietly, leaning forward, "just checking for any interference that might affect our departure. Standard procedure." "Right," Danny nodded. "I picked up encrypted Krullan military traffic," she continued, her voice dropping even lower. "High-level stuff? Captain, fleet coordination codes, deployment schedules. Krullans always have military traffic," Danny said. But his attention was fully on her now. "Not like this." Katie pulled out a small datapad, shielding the screen from other patrons. "Look at these coordinates. That's near the Theta Expanse, right on the border of human colonial space." Danny studied the numbers and felt his stomach tighten. "How many ships? I couldn't get exact counts, but the logistics data suggests something big," Katie said. "Really big. Fuel shipments, ammunition transfers, troop transport schedules, could be exercises." Scheduled to begin in 72 hours, Katie said. And Captain, one of the decoded fragments mentioned colonial suppression and acceptable human casualties. Danny's hand clenched around his glass. You're sure about this translation? I ran it through 3 different programs, Katie said. They're planning something against our colonies. 20 minutes later, Danny stood before the Galactic Council security liaison, a bored-looking Ventari official who barely glanced up from his data screens. I need to report a potential military threat to human colonial territories. Danny said formally, nature of threat. The official asked in a monotone voice, intelligence. Suggests the Krellan sovereignty is assembling a fleet near the Theta. Expanse with hostile intent toward human settlements. Now the official looked up, his multiple eyes blinking in what might have been surprise or amusement. And you are Captain Danny Martinez of the Earth merchant vessel Long Haul. A cargo captain, the official said slowly. You're reporting military intelligence. Yes. We intercepted. You intercepted nothing, the official interrupted. You likely misunderstood civilian traffic or picked up routine training exercises. This wasn't routine, Danny insisted. The deployment numbers alone, Captain Martinez, the official said with exaggerated patience. The Krellan sovereignty is one of the most respected military powers in this sector. They don't need to skulk around planning attacks. And frankly, why would they bother with human colonies? You're barely worth the fuel costs. Danny felt anger rising but kept his voice level. I'm requesting a formal investigation. Request denied, the official said, already looking back at his screens. I suggest you focus on your cargo deliveries and leave military intelligence to actual military personnel. Danny started to argue, but the official had already dismissed him, activating a privacy screen. The next humiliation came an hour later when Danny tried to contact Earthfleet Command directly. He managed to reach a junior communications officer who promised to pass along the information, but Danny could hear the skepticism in the young man's voice. A freighter captain with intercepted Krellan codes, the officer said. Sir, with respect. That sounds like either a communications error or possibly industrial espionage, neither of which is fleet jurisdiction. The final blow came that evening at a reception for visiting dignitaries. Danny had hoped to speak privately with the human ambassador, but before he could reach her, Ambassador Velrix's voice boomed across the hall. Captain Martinez, Velrix called out loudly, drawing everyone's attention. I heard you've been spreading wild stories about Krellan military operations. The room fell silent. I reported intelligence that suggested. Danny began, intelligence, Velrix laughed. A harsh sound that echoed off the high ceiling. You run a cargo hauler that looks like it was assembled from spare parts. What would you know about military intelligence? Other ambassadors were watching now, some with amusement, others with pity. The Krellans are assembling near human space, Danny said firmly, refusing to back down. We have military exercises throughout the sector, Velrix said dismissively. But I suppose to a simple cargo captain, routine fleet movements might seem threatening. Tell me, do you also report every asteroid as an invasion force? Laughter rippled through the gathered diplomats. Danny felt his face burn, but held Velrix's gaze. I know what I heard. What you heard, Velrix said with theatrical sadness, is probably just standard traffic that your outdated equipment misinterpreted. I suggest you stick to hauling cargo. Captain, it's clearly all you're qualified for. More laughter. The human ambassador looked uncomfortable, but didn't defend him. Danny turned and walked out, Katie following close behind. Captain, she said quietly as they headed back toward the docks. Get the ship ready to fly, Danny said, his voice hard. Plot a course for the Theta Expanse. Sir. That's directly toward. I know exactly where it is, Danny interrupted. Nobody believes us and nobody's going to investigate. so we'll do it ourselves. Or a cargo ship, Katie protested. If there really is a Krellin fleet out there, then a lot of humans are going to die unless someone warns them, Danny said. And since the mighty Galactic Council thinks we're just stupid cargo haulers, we might as well act like it. Katie was quiet for a moment, then nodded. I'll start the pre-flight sequence. As they walked back toward Dock 17, neither of them noticed the old, battered freighter seemed to sit a little differently in its clamps, like a predator pretending to sleep. The long haul slipped away from the station 3 hours later, its departure barely noted by the busy traffic controllers. Katie sat at navigation, plotting their course through the commercial shipping lanes that would eventually lead them toward the Theta Expanse course laid in. Captain, she reported. 18 hours to the coordinates I pulled from that intercept. Good, Danny said, then keyed the ship-wide intercom. Eric, Lisa, bridge now. 2 figures emerged from the lower decks within minutes. Eric Chun was a thin man in his 30s, perpetually covered in grease stains from working on the ship's endless mechanical problems. Lisa Park was older, her gray-streaked hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her sharp eyes missing nothing. We're going hunting, Danny said without preamble. Once they'd gathered, Eric raised an eyebrow. Hunting what? Exactly. Krellin fleet, Danny said. Kitty intercepted intelligence, suggesting they're massing near human colonial space. Nobody at the council believes us, so we're going to gather proof ourselves. And if we find this fleet? Lisa asked carefully. Then we find a way to warn Earth before they attack. Eric and Lisa exchanged glances. Finally, Eric spoke. Captain, I think it's time. Time for what? Katie asked. Confused Danny was quiet for a long moment, then nodded. Yeah, I think you're right. Katie, how long have you been with us? 6 months. Sir, 6 months of thinking we're just a cargo hauler. Aren't we? Katie asked, though something in Danny's tone made her uncertain. Show her. Eric, Danny said. Eric's grimy fingers flew across the engineering console, entering a code sequence Katie had never seen. The main screen flickered and suddenly the ship's true systems displayed before her eyes. Katie's mouth fell open. What? How? The long haul started life as an Earth Fleet corvette. Danny explained. Class designation Shadowrunner, built 30 years ago for covert intelligence operations. But it looks like a piece of junk. Eric finished with a grin. Yeah, that's the point. We spent 5 years making it look this bad. Every rust patch is carefully applied paint. Every mismatched hull plate hides military-grade armor underneath. Lisa took over the explanation. Earth Fleet learned something important early in our contact with other species. Everyone underestimates us. So instead of fighting that perception, we weaponized it. There are 40 ships like ours scattered across the galaxy. Danny continued. Old, beaten-up freighters that nobody looks at twice. But underneath, we're equipped with some of the most advanced intelligence-gathering equipment humanity ever built. Katie stared at the screen showing the ship's actual capabilities. The sensors can track a single ship from 3 star systems away. Eric said proudly, the engines you think are barely holding together can actually push us to speeds that would surprise most military vessels. And the weapons. Lisa added, we have weapons. Katie almost shouted. Concealed torpedo tubes. Plasma cannons hidden in what looked like broken cargo cranes. And enough electronic warfare gear to jam an entire fleet, Danny said. We've been watching, listening, and reporting for years, and nobody suspects a thing because we look too pathetic to bother with. Katie sat down heavily. I've been serving on a spy ship, intelligence-gathering vessel. Danny corrected gently. We don't engage in combat operations. We watch. We listen. We report. That's our job. Until now, Lisa said quietly. Danny nodded. Until now, if there really is a fleet assembling and nobody's listening to our warnings. We might have to do more than just watch. Captain, our standing orders. Lisa began. I know the orders, Danny interrupted. Observe and report. Never engage. But what good are orders if following them means watching millions of colonists die? The bridge fell silent except for the soft hum of the engines. I'm in, Eric said finally. If we're doing this, I can have the weapon systems fully operational in 12 hours. Lisa, Danny asked. The communications specialist looked troubled. This could end our careers. If we survive, Fleet might court-martial us for exceeding our authority. Probably. Danny agreed. But those are our people in those colonies. Lisa continued. My sister lives on Proxima 4 with her family. If something happens, and we could have prevented it. She straightened her shoulders. I'm in. All eyes turned to Katie. 6 months ago. I thought I was joining a cargo crew, she said slowly. Now, I find out I've been part of Earth's intelligence network this whole time, and you're asking if I want to help save colonies from attack. Yes, Captain. I don't need to think about it. Katie said firmly, let's go stop a war. Danny smiled. Then let's get to work, Eric. Start bringing our systems online, but keep the external appearance unchanged. Lisa, see if you can pull any more intel from the intercepts. Katie, plot. U.S. a course that keeps us in sensor shadow as much as possible. The crew scattered to their tasks. 8 hours later, they were deep in the abandoned mining sector that bordered the Theta Expanse. The region was empty of traffic, littered with dead asteroids and the skeletal remains of old mining stations. Approaching the coordinates, Katie reported, her hands steady on the controls. Lisa, active scans. Let's see what we're dealing with. Danny ordered. The communications station lit up like a festival display. Lisa's face went pale. Captain, I'm reading multiple fleet signatures. How many? Scanning now. Lisa's fingers danced across her console. 287 distinct ships, sir. All Krellin military classifications. The bridge went silent. 287, Eric whispered. That's not a fleet. That's an armada. Composition. Danny demanded, his voice tight. 70 battlecruisers. 140 destroyers. 52 support vessels. 25 troop transports. Lisa read off. Captain, this is a full-scale invasion force. Katie pulled up the tactical display. The enemy ships were arranged in standard attack formation, grouped by class and function. They're organized for rapid deployment. Can you intercept their communications? Danny asked Lisa. Already working on it, she replied, her equipment humming. They're using military encryption, but got it. Patching through now. Voices filled the bridge, speaking in the harsh Krellin language. Lisa's translation software converted the words to text on the screen. Confirmed. Final ammunition loads complete. Troop transports at full capacity. Attack window opens in 70 hours. Primary targets. Proxima 4. New Boston, Henderson's World, Terra Nova, and Shanghai Colony. Katie felt sick. Those colonies have a combined population of 12 million people. Keep recording. Danny ordered Lisa. We need every piece of evidence we can get. Captain, we should transmit this to Earth Fleet immediately, Eric said urgently. Lisa was already trying. Negative, sir. There's some kind of interference, natural background. Radiation from the asteroid field is blocking our long-range transmitter. Can you clear it? Not from here. We'd need to move to a clearer position, which would take us 6 hours minimum. We don't have 6 hours to waste, Danny said, thinking quickly. By the time we move, transmit, and fleet responds, those colonies could already be under attack. So what do we do? Katie asked. Danny stared at the tactical display showing hundreds of enemy ships. A crazy idea was forming in his mind. An idea so reckless that under normal circumstances he'd dismiss it immediately. We buy time, he said slowly. Buy time how? Eric asked. Though the engineer's expression suggested he already knew the answer, we slowed them down. Then he said, "We hit their support infrastructure, fuel depots, ammunition transports, command and control ships. We make them think twice before launching their attack, Captain." "That's suicide," Lisa protested. "We're one ship against an armada. One ship they won't see coming," Danny countered. "Look at their formation. They're confident, relaxed. They think they're safe out here in this abandoned sector. They're not running defensive patrols. They're not expecting trouble, because nobody would be crazy enough to attack them," Eric pointed out. "Exactly," Danny grinned. "Which means we have the element of surprise. We look like a broken-down freighter that probably wandered into this sector by accident. By the time they realize what we really are, we can hurt them badly enough to delay the invasion." Katie studied the tactical display with new eyes. The supply convoy is separated from the main fleet by about 40,000 kilometers. 6 fuel tankers with minimal escort. Those tankers are carrying antimatter fuel, Eric said, catching on. "If they lose that fuel, they can't launch a coordinated assault. They'd have to wait for resupply, which gives Earth fleet time to respond." Lisa finished. Danny looked at his crew. "I'm not ordering you to do this. We'd be violating every rule in the book and probably starting an interstellar incident." "The Krellans are the ones starting an incident," Katie said. "We're just being proactive about stopping it. Eric, I can have weapons hot in 30 minutes. Lisa, I'll keep recording everything when we transmit this evidence. The Council won't be able to ignore it." Danny took a deep breath. "Then let's show these bastards why you don't underestimate humanity. Katie, plot an intercept course for that supply convoy. Eric, bring all weapon systems online, but keep them concealed until we're in range. Lisa, prepare a data package with everything we've recorded. If we don't make it out, it needs to get back to Earth somehow." "Aye, Captain." All three responded. The long haul began moving, its old engines coughing and sputtering just like always. But beneath the performance, a predator was. The long haul drifted toward the Krellan supply convoy like a piece of space debris, its engines running on minimal power. To any observer, it looked like just another derelict freighter that had wandered into the wrong sector. Range to target convoy, 40,000 kilometers. Katie reported quietly, her voice steady despite the tension on the bridge. Eric's hands moved across the weapons console, bringing systems online that hadn't been fired in years. Torpedo tubes 1 through 4 loaded and ready. Plasma cannons are charged. Electronic warfare suite is standing by. "What's the convoy's formation?" Danny asked. Katie pulled up the tactical display. 6 fuel tankers in a loose cluster with 4 destroyer escorts, 2 in front, 2 in back. They're maintaining standard cruise speed. No evasive patterns. They're not expecting trouble, Lisa observed from communications. "I'm monitoring their chatter. It's routine status updates and complaints about duty assignments." "Good," Danny said. "That means they'll be slow to react. Katie, bring us in from the sun side. Let their sensors wash us out in the glare." "Aye, Captain." Katie adjusted their course. Approaching on Vector 77 Mark III. The minutes crawled by as the long haul closed the distance. Through the viewports, the convoy became visible. Massive cylindrical tankers, each one carrying enough antimatter fuel to power a dozen warships for months. The destroyer escorts were sleek and dangerous-looking vessels, each one probably carrying more firepower than 10 ships like the long haul, or at least more than 10 ships that looked like the long haul. "Range, 10,000 kilometers, Katie announced. "Still no change in their formation," Lisa added. "They haven't even pinged us with active sensors. Why would they?" Eric muttered. "We look like garbage. That's what we're counting on," Danny said. "Eric, target solutions. Locked on all 6 tankers," Eric confirmed. "Torpedo spread ready, Captain, once we fire." Those destroyers are going to be all over us. I know, Danny said. Which is why we're not going to be there when they arrive. Katie, as soon as Eric launches. I want emergency acceleration on heading 290. Punch through their formation and use the tanker explosions for cover. That's going to be close. Sir, I'm aware, Danny said. Then keyed the ship-wide intercom. All hands. Brace for combat maneuvers. This is not a drill. He took a deep breath. Eric, fire. 4 torpedoes launched simultaneously from concealed tubes along the long hall's hull. They streaked across the darkness, their drives burning bright. For 3 precious seconds, the Krellin escort crews probably couldn't believe what they were seeing. A broken-down freighter had just opened fire. Then the torpedoes found their targets. The first tanker exploded in a brilliant flash as antimatter fuel met matter in the most violent reaction physics allowed. The second and third tankers detonated almost simultaneously, their explosions feeding off each other. The fourth torpedo struck true but failed to penetrate the tanker's armor. Instead, it ruptured the hull, venting fuel in a massive spray. 3 hits, 1 partial, Eric reported. Reloading tubes. Destroyers are breaking formation, Katie called out. They're coming about. Punch it, Danny ordered. The long hull's engines roared to full power, accelerating so hard that the crew was pressed back into their seats. The old freighter that had limped into dock just hours ago suddenly moved like a warship, crossing the distance in seconds. Behind them, the fourth tanker's vented fuel reached critical mass and ignited. The explosion dwarfed the previous ones, creating a temporary star that lit up the sector. 2 destroyers are pursuing, Lisa reported. The other 2 are trying to protect the remaining tankers. Distance to pursuit, Danny demanded. 8,000 kilometers and closing. They're faster than us. Captain, not for long, Eric said, activating the electronic warfare suite. Jamming their targeting systems now. The pursuing destroyers opened fire, but their shots went wide. Their sensors confused by the long haul's countermeasures. Danny watched the tactical display, timing his next move. Katie, hard port. Bring us into the asteroid field. Sir, at this speed. Do it? Katie's hands flew across her controls, and the long haul banked hard, diving into a dense cluster of tumbling asteroids. The pursuing destroyers followed, their commanders too angry to think clearly. Eric, mines? Danny ordered. Deploying. Eric released a spread of small proximity mines from the stern, each one no bigger than a fist. They scattered across the long haul's wake, invisible against the asteroids. The first Krellin destroyer never saw them coming. 3 mines detonated against its forward shields in rapid succession, overloading them. The 4th mine punched through and tore into the ship's reactor housing. The destroyer's fusion core went critical. It didn't explode so much as tear itself apart, scattering debris across a kilometer of space. 1 down, Eric reported with grim satisfaction. The second destroyer learned from its companion's mistake and broke off pursuit, circling wide to avoid the minefield. Take us deeper into the asteroids, Danny ordered. Make them work to find us. For the next 20 minutes, the long haul played a deadly game of hide and seek. Katie used her knowledge of the asteroid field to slip from cover to cover while the Krellin destroyers searched with increasing frustration. Lisa monitored the communications traffic. Captain, the convoy is calling for reinforcements. They're reporting a hostile human vessel and requesting immediate support. How long until help arrives? Danny asked. Based on the fleet's current position, about 40 minutes. Then we make the most of the time we have, Danny said. Katie, plot a course back toward the main fleet. Eric, how many torpedoes do we have left? 6. We're going after their command carrier. Danny announced. The bridge fell silent for a moment. Sir, that ship is in the middle of the fleet, Lisa protested. We'll never get close. We don't need to get close, Danny said. "We just need to get close enough. The command carrier is where Admiral Krevtok coordinates this entire invasion. If we take him out, the whole operation falls apart." "Captain, that's suicide," Eric said bluntly. "Maybe," Danny agreed. "But if we don't try, 12 million people die. I'll take those odds." Katie checked her sensors. "The destroyer searching for us is moving away. I think they're giving up." "Perfect," Danny said. "That means they think we ran." "Lisa, can you spoof our transponder?" "To broadcast what?" "Make us look like one of their fuel tankers. The ones that didn't explode." Lisa's fingers danced across her console. "Done. We're now Krellin Supply Vessel Corvith. Take us in, Katie," Danny ordered. "Nice and slow. We're just a scared fuel tanker running back to the fleet for protection." The long haul emerged from the asteroid field, its engines sputtering and coughing. To anyone watching, it looked like a damaged supply ship limping home. "Fleet sensors are scanning us," Lisa reported tensely. They're waving us through. The deception is working. How close can we get to the command carrier?" Danny asked. Katie studied the fleet formation. "If we maintain this heading, we'll pass within 30 kilometers of it. That's within torpedo range," Eric said. "Exactly," Danny said. "Eric, program the torpedoes for delayed detonation. I want them to look like they're heading away from the carrier. Then curve back and strike from an unexpected angle." "Smart intercept pattern," Eric confirmed. Programmed and ready, the long haul drifted deeper into the Krellin formation. Massive warships surrounded them on all sides, each one capable of destroying the freighter with a single salvo. The crew barely breathed as they moved past destroyers, battle cruisers, and support vessels. "Command carrier is 5 minutes ahead," Katie whispered. "Any sign they suspect?" Danny asked Lisa. "Negative. They're still treating us as one of their own." The command carrier came into view, a massive ship 3 times the size of a normal battle cruiser, its hull bristling with communications arrays and sensor dishes. This was the brain of the Armada, the vessel from which Admiral Krevtok commanded hundreds of ships. "Range, 35 kilometers," Katie reported. 33, 31. "Eric, fire all torpedoes," Danny commanded. "Katie, emergency acceleration the moment those tubes are empty." "Lisa, drop the spoof transponder and jam everything you can." "Firing." Eric announced. 6 torpedoes streaked away from the long haul, their drives burning bright. For a moment, they appeared to be heading away from the command carrier. Then their programming kicked in. They curved in a wide arc, approaching from 6 different angles. The Krellin fleet erupted in chaos. "Go, go, go!" Danny shouted. The long haul's engines roared to full power just as warning klaxons began blaring across every ship. The torpedoes closed on their target, 3 of them intercepted by the carrier's defensive fire, but 3 got through. The explosions tore into the command carrier's bridge section. Secondary detonations rippled along its hull as systems overloaded and ammunition stores cooked off. The entire front third of the massive ship disappeared in a fireball. "Direct hit," Eric reported. "That ship is." His words were cut off as the long haul shuddered violently. A Krellin destroyer had gotten off a lucky shot, its plasma bolt grazing their starboard side. "Hull breach on deck 3, Katie called out. "Losing atmosphere." "Seal it," Danny ordered. "Get us out of here." The long haul accelerated hard, weaving between the larger warships as dozens of vessels tried to target them. Plasma fire lit up the space around them, but Katie's piloting and Lisa's jamming kept them alive. The long haul limped through deep space, its damaged hull leaving a faint trail of vented atmosphere that showed up on thermal scanners. Danny stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display, as angry red dots representing Krellin. Ships spread out in search patterns behind them. "How long until they find us?" he asked. Quietly, Katie studied her navigation console. With the trail we're leaving, maybe 6 hours, less if they get lucky. Eric, can you seal those vents? The engineer looked up from his damage control panel, exhaustion clear on his face. Not while we're running at this speed. I need to shut down the engines for at least 2 hours to do proper repairs, which we don't have. Danny muttered, Captain. I'm picking up increased communications traffic, Lisa reported. The Krellin fleet is reorganizing. They've designated 50 ships as a hunter, group with one specific mission. Find and destroy us. 50 ships, Eric whispered. They really want us dead. We destroyed their fuel supplies, killed their admiral, and humiliated them in front of their entire fleet. Katie said, Yeah, I'd say they're motivated. Danny studied the tactical display. The hunter group was already moving, spreading out in a search pattern that would eventually cover this entire sector. Lisa, any response from Earth Fleet to our earlier transmissions? Still too much interference to get a clear signal out, Lisa said apologetically. I've been trying every frequency, but the background. Radiation in this region is blocking everything. Then we need to keep moving. Keep them chasing us, Danny decided. Every hour we stay alive is another hour Earth has to figure out something's wrong. Sir, with all respect, we can't fight 50 warships, Eric pointed out. We got lucky with that convoy and the command carrier. But our luck is running out. I know, Danny said. So we don't fight, we hide, we move, we make them work for it. For the next 4 hours. The long haul played a desperate game of cat and mouse through the abandoned mining sector. Katie used every trick she knew, hiding in asteroid shadows, cutting power to drift like debris, even venting extra atmosphere to create false trails. But the Krellin Hunter group was methodical and patient. They swept through the sector in careful patterns, their sensors probing every hiding spot. Contact, Katie announced suddenly. 3 destroyers, bearing 045. Range 20,000 kilometers. Have they seen us? Danny asked. Negative. They're running a standard search pattern. Take us deeper into that nebula ahead, Danny ordered. Pointing at the display, the gas clouds should mask our signature. The long haul slipped into the roiling purple gases of the small nebula. Visibility dropped to almost nothing, and the sensors showed nothing but static. This is good cover, Lisa said. But it's a double-edged sword. We can't see them either. I know, Danny said. But right now hiding is more important than seeing. They drifted through the nebula for 30 tense minutes. Then Katie's console beeped urgently. Contact. Multiple ships entering the nebula. They're coming in from 3 sides. They're boxing us in, Eric realized. They know we're in here. Danny's mind raced. How thick is this nebula? Pretty dense, Katie said. But it thins out near the center where there's an old mining platform, abandoned for decades. That platform, Danny said slowly. Does it still have power? Katie checked her records. Minimal. Emergency systems only, but yes, then that's our chance, Danny said. Katie, take us to that platform. Eric, I need you to rig something. Rig what? Sir, a surprise for our friends, Danny said with a grim smile. Can you program our spare emergency beacon to broadcast a fake distress signal? Eric caught on immediately. Make it look like we're calling for help. Yeah, I can do that. Where do you want it on that mining platform? Danny said. We'll plan it, then hide somewhere nearby. When the Krellins investigate, we hit them from an unexpected angle. Captain, that's risky, Lisa warned. If they don't fall for it, then we're no worse off than we are now, Danny interrupted. But if they do take the bait, we might thin out their numbers. The old mining platform materialized out of the gas clouds like a ghost. It was a simple structure, just a central hub with 6 extending arms that had once held refining equipment. Most of the arms were broken off now, leaving jagged metal stumps. Katie brought the long haul alongside while Eric suited up and took the emergency beacon outside. Through the viewports, they could see his suited figure moving across the platform, planting the device. Beacon in place and activated, Eric reported over the comm. It's broadcasting standard distress protocols and our ship's identification codes. Get back inside. Danny ordered 2 minutes later. Eric was back on the bridge. Done. Anyone scanning that signal will think we're stuck on that platform calling for rescue. Good, Danny said. Katie, take us to the far side of the platform. Put the structure between us and the search ships. Lisa, full sensor silence. I don't want anything broadcasting from us. The long haul settled into position, using the platform's bulk to hide. They didn't have to wait long. Contact, Katie whispered. 4 ships converging on the platform. Looks like 3 destroyers and 1 heavy cruiser. The cruiser is probably the Hunter Group's flagship, Lisa observed. Studying the sensor returns, I'm picking up the commander's transponder. It's Commander Dexal. What do we know about him? Danny asked, cautious. Experienced, doesn't take unnecessary risks, Lisa read from her database. He's fought humans before during the border skirmishes 5 years ago, so he won't rush in blindly, Danny mused. Eric, arm the last 2 torpedoes. Katie, be ready to move the moment I give the word. They watched as the Krullan ships approached the platform. The destroyers moved in first, their sensors sweeping the structure. They're not buying it, Eric said as the ships held back. They're too smart. Wait, Danny said. Commander Dasal's cruiser moved closer, its powerful sensors probing the platform. Danny could almost feel the Krullan commander thinking, weighing the risks. Then, the cruiser's comm system activated. Daxal's voice came through, speaking in Galactic Common that Lisa's systems translated. Human vessel, this is Commander Daxal of the Krullan Sovereignty. We know you are hiding nearby. Your distress beacon is an obvious trap. The bridge crew exchanged glances. You have fought well, Daxal continued. Better than anyone expected. You have cost us dearly and earned respect. But this pursuit ends now. Surrender, and you will be treated as prisoners of war under galactic conventions. Continue to resist, and we will destroy you. He sounds almost regretful, Katie said quietly. He is, Danny replied. He's a soldier, not like that arrogant fool Velrix, but he's still the enemy. Are you going to answer? Lisa asked. Danny thought for a long moment. Patch me through. Let's talk to this commander. Lisa established the connection. You're on, sir. Commander Dexal, Danny said calmly. This is Captain Danny Martinez of the Earth vessel Long Haul, the cargo freighter. Dexal's voice held a note of irony. We know better now. You are no simple cargo captain. Neither are you a simple hunter, Danny replied. You're too good to fall for obvious traps. I am curious, Dexal admitted. Why does one ship challenge an entire armada? What did you hope to achieve? I hope to save 12 million lives, Danny said simply. Your fleet was preparing to attack our colonies. I had to try to stop it. There was a pause. You cannot stop an armada with one ship. I can slow it down, Danny said. I can make it hesitate. I can buy time for my people to prepare, at the cost of your own life, if necessary, Danny said. Some things are worth dying for. Commander, another pause. Longer this time. I understand. I would do the same for my people, but understanding does not change what must happen now. Surrender. Captain Martinez, you have done all you can. Have I? Danny asked, and nodded to Eric. The engineer launched both torpedoes. They streaked out from behind the mining platform, programmed not for the ships, but for the platform itself. The torpedoes slammed into the platform's ancient reactor core. The explosion was massive, a brilliant flash that lit up the entire nebula. The shockwave caught 2 of the destroyers before they could react, tossing them like toys. Go! Danny shouted. The Long Haul's engines fired, and they shot away from the explosion, using the blast as cover. Behind them, the Krellan ships were in chaos. One destroyer destroyed, the other heavily damaged, Eric reported. The cruiser and remaining destroyer survived, but their sensors are blinded by the radiation. Keep us in the nebula, Danny ordered. Use the interference to mask our escape. They fled deeper into the gas clouds. Behind them, Commander Desal's voice came over the comm one final time. Clever. Captain Martinez. Very clever. But you cannot hide forever. Danny didn't respond. He was too busy watching the tactical display as more ships converged on their position. Sir, we have a problem, Katie said, her voice tight. The Hunter group has spread out. They're creating a sensor net across the entire region. They're going to flush us out. How long? Danny asked, too. Maybe 3 hours before we run out of places to hide. Danny slumped in his chair. They'd fought well. Lasted longer than anyone could have expected, but the end was coming. 50 ships against one, no matter how clever they were, Captain. Lisa interrupted his dark thoughts. I'm picking up something on the long-range sensors. It's faint, but... She went pale. What is it? Danny demanded. Sir, I think, I need to confirm, but Lisa's hands flew across her console. The Earth Fleet battleship Valiant filled the long hall's view screen as Katie brought them alongside. It was a beautiful sight. 300 meters of military power, its hull gleaming with fresh armor and its weapon ports bristling with enough firepower to level a small moon. Long hull, this is Valiant Actual. A crisp voice came over the comm. Stand by for Fleet Commander. A moment later, a woman's face appeared on the main screen. She was in her 50s with sharp eyes and gray hair cut military short. Her uniform bore the rank insignia of a fleet admiral. Captain Martinez, she said. I'm Admiral Paula Grant. We received fragments of your transmissions and came as fast as we could. What's your status? Battered but operational, Admiral, Danny reported. We've been engaged with a Krellan Armada for the past 18 hours. So we gathered, Admiral Grant said dryly. Our sensors picked up debris from at least 15 destroyed Krellan vessels. Did you do all that? Yes. The Admiral's eyebrows rose. In a cargo freighter. It's a very special cargo freighter. Ma'am, Admiral Grant's expression suggested she'd have questions about that later. We'll discuss your ship's capabilities in detail once this situation is resolved. For now, I need a complete tactical briefing. What are we facing? Danny nodded to Lisa, who transmitted their complete recordings. Krellan Sovereignty Armada, approximately 270 ships remaining. They were planning a coordinated strike on 5 human colonies in 48 hours. We're planning, the Admiral noted. We destroyed their fuel supplies and killed their fleet commander, Admiral Krevtok, Danny explained. They're disorganized and low on antimatter fuel, but they're still a massive threat. Admiral Grant studied the data. You've done exceptional work. Captain, stand by while I coordinate with my task force commanders. The screen shifted to show the tactical situation. The Krellan Armada was regrouping 20 million kilometers away, their formation ragged but still dangerous. The Earth fleet was smaller in numbers, but their ships were fresh and fully armed. Captain, Katie said quietly, we should probably fall back. Let the fleet handle this. Danny looked at his exhausted crew. They'd been fighting for nearly a day straight with minimal rest. Every system on the long haul was running hot, and their ammunition was down to emergency reserves. But before he could answer, Eric spoke up. With respect, sir, we started this fight. It doesn't feel right to sit it out now. I agree, Lisa added. Those colonists we're protecting, one of them is my sister. I want to see this through. Katie nodded firmly. We're staying, Captain. Danny smiled with pride. Admiral Grant, the long haul requests permission to remain with the fleet for the engagement. The Admiral's face reappeared on screen. Captain, your ship is damaged and your crew must be exhausted. I can't ask you to. You're not asking. Ma'am, Danny interrupted respectfully. We're volunteering. Admiral Grant studied him for a long moment. Very well, but you'll follow my tactical commands exactly. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Good, the Admiral said. Because I have a special job for you. Your ship has been operating in that Armada for hours. You know their formations, their weak points, their damaged vessels. I want you as my forward tactical coordinator. Danny blinked in surprise. Ma'am, you'll move with my command group and feed real-time intelligence to my task force commanders. Admiral Grant explained. Think you can handle that? Yes. Ma'am, Danny said with growing confidence. Then let's get to work, the Admiral said. All ships. This is Valiant Actual. Prepare for combat operations. The Earth fleet organized itself with practiced efficiency. The 3 battleships formed the center, their massive guns providing the heaviest firepower. Cruisers spread out in supporting positions while destroyers took point as screening vessels. The Long Haul moved alongside the Valiant, its battered hull looking tiny next to the battleship. Krellin fleet is responding, Lisa reported. They're forming up for battle. I'm reading command signals from a cruiser designated War Talon. Looks like Commander Thexall has taken overall command. Smart choice, Danny said. He's cautious and experienced. He won't make the same mistakes Kreftok did. Both fleets are moving into engagement range, Katie announced. 2 minutes to weapon range. Admiral Grant's voice came over the fleet-wide channel. All ships, remember your training fire discipline. Protect your wingmen and trust your commanders. For Earth and her colonies. For Earth. 47 voices responded. The space between the 2 fleets lit up as the first weapons fired. Plasma bolts streaked across the darkness like red lightning while missiles traced white contrails. The battle had begun. Danny, what am I looking at? Admiral Grant's voice came through on a private channel. Danny studied the tactical display, drawing on his hours and observing the Krellin fleet. Their left flank, Admiral. Those 6 destroyers have been operating on minimal power since we hit their fuel supplies. They're trying to hide it, but their shields are running at 60% capacity. Task Force Bravo. Concentrate fire on designated targets. The Admiral ordered immediately. Earth destroyers swarmed the weakened Krellin ships. Within minutes, 4 of them were destroyed, and the other 2 retreating. Their center is reinforcing, Danny called out. But see that gap forming between their cruiser line and their battleships. If we can get fast attack craft in there, fighter wings Alpha and Beta. Exploit that opening. Admiral Grant commanded Earth fighters dove through the gap. Their smaller size letting them avoid the heavy fire. They struck at the Krellin cruisers from behind, knocking out engines and weapon systems. The battle raged for 2 hours. Danny coordinated intelligence from his position beside the Valiant, pointing out weak formations and damaged ships. The Admiral's task force commanders acted on his information with devastating precision. But the Krellins weren't giving up easily. Commander Thexall proved to be a brilliant tactician, adapting quickly to counter Earth's attacks. He concentrated his strongest ships into strike groups that hammered at the Earth fleet's flanks. We're losing the Defender, Katie reported grimly as an Earth cruiser took critical damage. They're evacuating. Northern Task Force is taking heavy fire, Lisa added. Admiral, Thexall is trying to envelope our position, Danny said urgently. He's using his superior numbers to wrap around both flanks. If he succeeds, we'll be surrounded. Recommendations? Admiral Grant asked sharply. Danny's mind raced, seeing patterns in the chaos. The Krellin center is their strongest point. But look, to maintain those flanking maneuvers, Thexall had to thin out his rear guard. If we can break through there, we collapse their entire formation from behind, the Admiral finished. Task Force Charlie, immediate assault on these coordinates. Full power. Punch through their line. 12 Earth warships concentrated their fire on a single point in the Krellin formation. The enemy ships there fought desperately, but couldn't withstand the coordinated assault. The line broke. Breakthrough confirmed, an excited voice reported over the comm. We're behind their main force. Commander Thexal's formation began to unravel. His flanking ships had to turn back to protect their rear, breaking the envelope. The Earth fleet pressed the advantage. Krellin flagship is hailing us, Lisa announced. Admiral Grant nodded. Put him through. Commander Thexal's face appeared on screen. His bronze skin was marked with burns, and his uniform was scorched. Admiral Grant, I presume. Commander Thexal, the Admiral replied calmly. Are you ready to discuss terms? You have fought well, Thexal said. As has your Captain Martinez. His ship caused more damage than I thought possible. But this battle is far from decided. Commander, you've lost nearly 40 ships, Admiral Grant stated. Your fuel supplies are depleted, and your formation is collapsing. You cannot win this engagement. Thexal was quiet for a moment. Perhaps not, but I can make victory very costly for you. My ships carry enough firepower to destroy half your fleet before you defeat us. Many of your people will die, as will all of yours, the Admiral said quietly. Is that what you want? What I want is irrelevant, Thexal replied. I follow orders. Orders to attack human colonies. Orders from a dead admiral. Danny interjected from his station. Krevtok is gone, Commander. You're in command now. That means the choice is yours. Thexal looked directly at Danny through the comm. You should have surrendered in that nebula. Captain Martinez, you could have lived. Some things are worth more than living, Danny replied. Like preventing a war that will cost millions of lives on both sides. You believe this war can be prevented. I believe it can be stopped before it starts, Danny said. Right here, right now, by two soldiers who are tired of fighting. Admiral Grant spoke carefully. Commander, the Galactic Council will want answers about this Armada. They'll want to know why the Krellin sovereignty assembled an invasion force in secret. If you surrender now, we can present this as a rogue operation that was stopped before it escalated. You would lie to protect my government. Thexal asked skeptically. I would tell a truth that prevents a full-scale war, the Admiral corrected. Krevtok acted without full authorization. You stopped him when you realized his true intentions. Both our governments avoid embarrassment and billions of people avoid dying. Everyone wins. Thexal looked off-screen, clearly consulting with someone. When he turned back, his expression was troubled. My officers are divided. Some